Well, welcome to the fundamentals of real estate. I'm your host, Angela Dillmon, here at the Dillmon Group, and this is my wealth building partner,
Glen Calvin, Guild Mortgage.
Okay, hey Glenn, I got a
Yes.
question for you. Have you ever been to a garage sale?
I have been. You know, I like guitars and I like to play guitars, so a lot of times I'll go look for something kind of unique or interesting.
So, what do you think when you're looking at a garage sale? What do you think?
So I'm thinking I'm going to get a deal.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to get a bargain.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
thinking they probably don't know what they have, and yeah, I'm gonna. It's going to be a find.
That's going to be a find.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
now what if I took that vintage guitar and I put it in a resale shop? What do you think now?
So now I think I'm going to pay more because
Why?
that guy has done his research. He knows what he has. He knows what similar guitars like that have sold. He's done his homework. He's priced. He's probably cleaned it up a little bit. He's probably
Yeah.
put new strings on it.
Yeah.
All that little stuff. and I'm
All
gonna
the
pay it.
things.
Yes.
All the things you're probably going to pay more. So, today's topic, all right, how to negotiate the best offer on your
Yeah,
house.
this has been so much fun. It's like
Okay.
a journey, and we started a long time ago, getting the house ready,
Yeah.
staging, pictures.
Yeah.
We've shown it, and now we got offers.
And now we got offers on the table.
And maybe we don't have offers.
Yeah, well, hopefully more than one.
Yes.
Sometimes you only get one, but there's still multiple offers going on. So we've done everything we can to get the multiple offers. Now, to me, when it comes to negotiating, and we want to squeeze every dollar we can, but we also want to make sure we get to closing.
Right.
Right? So we
Yes.
got to choose well, too, because not every offer that you get sticks with the deal. Right? And so it's hard to predict when someone may walk away from a contract, which in St. Louis they can do during their inspection period for no reason. So during their inspection period, which may be 5 days, 7 days, 10, the standard is 10, they can just walk away for no reason.
Is that, and I know the legislature ever made that rule, is that just St. Louis County, or is that?
It's St. Louis. It is really Missouri contracts.
Okay.
In St. Louis, that's the way our contracts are made to kind of mirror Missouri. It's just the way our contracts are. I didn't write them. I have to live with them. All right. So negotiating, when you're negotiating, to me, the minute you market, you're negotiating.
Right.
Okay. So if I did a poor job marketing, then you're going to have poor negotiations. Like, you're not going to get the offers that you need to even negotiate, right? And so we're going to start there. But now, if we have more than one, first thing, agent calls you, right? They show the house. What do you think the first question is? What do you think the first question is?
How many offers you have?
How many
Yes, I knew
offers
that
do
one.
you have? Do you have any offers? And then how many do you have, right? So
They want to know if they're
wanna
negotiating
know.
against somebody else.
That's right. They want to know if they're negotiating against someone else. So how the agent, your listing agent, handles this question is important. All right. So if it's the first day, which everybody wants to be in on the first day right now, because speed wins the day, and you might have 20 showings on the first day instead of spread out over the weekend like it used to be. All first day. And so first day, what we say is, hey, we just opened showings up and we've got a ton of them, and we are expecting offers, and more than one, for sure. I mean, our activity is high. Okay? So the way your agent answers these questions when you don't have offers is as important as how they answer when they have offers, right? Okay, so
And do they? Is it a misconception? They don't all call you, do they? Do some of them?
some of them just throw stuff
Isn't
at
that crazy?
you,
Yeah.
and they don't even call and ask you questions. But
Right.
if it's a good agent, they'll actually call you. Now, the first thing I do in negotiating is let the agent talk.
You're this person you're negotiating with for the contract.
Yeah, the agent, before they even write an offer or do anything, when they call me, I'm all questions. I want to hear them talk. I want to let them spill as many beans as they can about their buyer. I want to know. I want to know why that buyer's interested, because I do look for glue. Glue in a contract to me is I need to be in the neighborhood for some reason. You know, grandparents down the street, got to go to a certain grade school, because that's kind of a clue that we probably will get to closing.
Right.
Questions to ask. Have you made offers on other properties and lost out? I like those buyers, okay? I like those buyers because they're highly motivated. The next thing I'll ask is, have you ever been under contract and then walked away from one? I need to know who you're dealing with, right? But those agents, they'll have their buyers write letters. They'll just tell you everything about the buyer. I want to know about the buyer's financial position. How much are they putting down? Have they been pre-approved or completely underwritten, right?
Yes, right. You know, we want all ours going in. We talked about that before.
Yeah. All the
So
way
you
through
wanna know,
underwriting.
right,
And Guild over here, they're doing it in like a week,
Yeah.
like less than a week.
You want to make sure they're qualified. Is this
Yeah.
a qualified offer, right?
All right. So you're going to let the agent talk as much as you can. You're going to gather as much info as you can on the buyer. And if they write a letter, please, as a seller, don't read the letter.
So a lot of people, because it's so competitive, some of the people watch this podcast, that the buyers, in their desperation, are writing a letter to the seller on why you should pick my offer.
Why you should pick me.
It's heightened emotion.
Right.
I'm desperate to buy this house.
Yeah,
my grandma lives next door.
Right.
This is perfect for my loving family.
Right.
But
we have 4 kids, one on the way.
You don't want the seller to read that letter.
I don't like the seller to read the letters, but I'll read the letter and I'll gather as much information as I can. All right, so that's important. So you're going to gather lots of information. Do they have a house? Do they have a house to sell? All the things, right? So once we do that, and as we were talking earlier about the garage sale versus the resale shop, having somebody in the middle, it really matters.
It does, and I think we talk so much about creating emotion for that. But when we get to this negotiating, there's a time when the emotion needs to be pulled back.
That's true. It is an emotional process all the way through to closing, and especially in this point right here. It's highly emotional. The agents are emotional.
Yeah. Well, just think of buying a car.
The buyers are emotional. The sellers are. Everybody has.
You're going back and forth with that car salesman. I know you get that point to whoever talks next loses. And I got to go talk to my manager.
Right. So the point being, if you have someone in the middle, you have the person to blow steam off to help you strategize, to understand what's actually being offered, what's being said, what are the ins and outs of it, right? You need that explanation when they make an offer. Well, what is it? Why do I care whether they're putting 5% down versus 20% down, right? 5% down, it has to appraise. It doesn't appraise out, they're not buying the house. 20% down, it could probably appraise for 10% less and they could still get that same loan, right? And so these things matter, right? The terms matter. Okay. Another thing I do when we're negotiating is actually coach agents when they call me.
So you're actually teaching the agents when...
Yeah. They're like, I'm like, okay, you sent me the offer, or they say, if we make an offer that says this, what do you think? And I'm like, well, are you able to remove the appraisal? Contingency. Like, it doesn't have to appraise. I'm still going to buy the house. Have you had that conversation with your buyer? And they're like, well, I was going to, but no. And I'm like, I think if you had that conversation, it's going to make you stronger.
And really, those contingencies that are in there with the appraisal,
and building
inspection, and then there's going to be the financing.
And the financing, the amount of earnest money they put down, all these things. And so I actually coach them, like, have you had this conversation? I see you're putting 5% down, but what if it appraised 10 grand less? Were they able to bring 10 more grand to the table? It's called an appraisal gap. So I actually coach them and say, have you had this conversation? Are they able to do this? I see you have a 10-day inspection. Are they able to say, hey, I won't ask you to fix anything if it's under 5 grand? Have you had that conversation with your buyer? Well, no, I haven't. Would you have that conversation? So what I try to do is help the agent and the buyer push themselves. I'm not pushing them. I'm just saying, hey, you'd probably be in a better position if you improve some of these other terms. Have you talked about it? Have you thought about it? Did you give them the option? Not all agents give their buyers options. Right?
Right, no.
And so they're like, oh, no, I actually haven't. I'm like, well, let me know if you have the conversation and what they say. So I let them push themselves, make sure that they're having the conversations that benefit the seller and that may actually help them win the house. And it's kind of a win-win.
Because it's not always the best price. It could be one that's the price isn't quite as high, but they don't have an appraisal. They don't. Maybe
they're
a quick closing.
Their inspection, or they said, hey, I won't ask you to fix anything under a certain amount of money, or I won't ask you to fix anything. I'll either buy it or I'll walk away, but I'm not going to ask for anything.
And I know too, it can do. Some sellers want a quick closing because they're already.
Some want quicker.
Some of them want time to go find another house.
Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of tell the world in our agent remarks, like your perfect closing date and things like that. We try to get these terms built up for you while we're collecting. Now, in our new listing agreements, the seller has to actually give us permission now to disclose that there are other offers and disclose terms in the other offers. It doesn't mean that we have to. It just means we can.
It's more open.
Right. And so when people say, how many offers do you have? As soon as I start collecting, I'm like, well, 1 in, 1 on the way, 2 in, 2 on the way, all those things, right? And so the more I have, the more I'm going to disclose that, yes, I have numerous offers. At first, it'll be just like, yes, I have multiples. And then it'll be, yes, I have 4. And then, so this conversation changes as offers come in. And I don't disclose terms of offers until it's beneficial to the seller.
Right.
I talk to the seller and we strategize. You could do this or you could do that. Right now, do you want me to say this or do you want me to say that?
Because in the end, even though you're the agent, you're the advisor, the seller's the one that actually signs the contract and makes the decision.
You're the one deciding.
Right.
So you want to take, we try to help you, as Glenn said, take the emotion out of it. Be the person in the middle.
Right.
Help improve the offers as much as we can before we decide to push on them some.
Right.
Right? And so it's a process that we go through, and we try to take it through a process that's really beneficial to you as a seller. I would rather a buyer push their number or improve one of their terms all on their own because they want to, and that's how much they want the house. It also shows you how much they want the house and how much their ability they have. Really cash,
and
really more their financial position and their willingness to part with money if it needs a high repair, like a furnace or something.
Right, and the point I want to drive home is it's so important to have a professional, experienced person on your side, because maybe you'll sell 2 or 3 houses in your lifetime.
Right.
Whereas your agent's probably, a good one's probably selling 5, 6, 7 a month.
Yeah.
So they've got that experience. They know, they've got the pulse of the market. They know what's going on. Because it changes. You know, right now we're in what we call a seller's market, where that just means the seller holds the cards.
Right.
It wasn't that long ago we were in the buyer's market.
Right.
And the offers were all coming in lower.
Right. And it's possible to negotiate higher than asking with only one offer. So, done right, set up right, all the other podcasts that we just did that help you set up right to do that, it's very possible to do. So, let's see, anything else that we have? So, details in the offers, we'll start disclosing that when we get like our 1 or 2 that are fighting for it. Then we might say, hey, this guy's doing this, right? And would you, if you're willing to do X, Y, or Z, then we'll sell it to you. That's one option. You can also say to both, one, you've got 2 buyers that are fighting over it, hey, you guys are kind of neck and neck. If one of you makes some kind of improvement somewhere, you might be the guy that wins. Are you willing to do any more? Right? Mm-hmm. And so there's that conversation. And then you see what, again, they do on their own before you try to push them. So
I know people would say
it's an art.
In this market, okay, it's a buyer's market and we're so busy. Why wouldn't I just put a for sale by owner sign and just sell it myself?
A seller's market, yeah, that's what you meant there.
Yeah, seller's market.
Yeah, so because it's very hard for you to get multiple offers, and when you do, it's very hard for you to squeeze every dime out because you don't have a person in the middle.
You don't,
and
you don't
it's very hard to say no.
Right.
And it's very hard not to give away stuff. Like you can talk to your agent all day long and tell them everything. It isn't going anywhere. They should be a stone wall. Right? And so, but it's very easy when people get you talking that you give your position away, your want-tos, your motivation, right? Which you shouldn't be doing. And right now, for whatever reason, a lot of agents are giving their buyers' positions away, and I'll take it all day long.
Yeah. You know, it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning with the guitar example. You know, that person at the resale shop that did his homework, that put it in the best light, that knows the value, and that knows the negotiation process and how to get the most of that. That's what a good realtor is going to do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. There are escalation clauses. Hey, you're asking $650,000 for your house. I'll pay you $650,000, but if somebody offers more than I made you an offer for, I'll pay $5,000 more than them, up to $7,000. So you see these escalation clauses, and the agents handle them differently, quite honestly. There's a lot of even disagreement on how escalation clauses are handled. So you definitely want an agent who can handle those correctly.
Yes.
And so there's a strategy for every house.
You wouldn't try to do the plumbing in your house. You wouldn't try to do the electric in your house.
Right.
You need to hire somebody that has a negotiation.
Right. And you know what? You know why a lot of these negotiations look different? Because you as a seller have priorities that look different from another seller. Some people's priority is like, I want an all-cash buyer, I want to close in 2 weeks, I wanted this, and other sellers are like, the closing's not so important to me, the price is all important, or hey, I don't really want to go through an inspection thing, so whatever you can do, that inspection clause and making that as good as you can get it is really the priority to me. And so your priorities matter, and the negotiations look different depending on your priorities.
There's a lot going on there.
Yes, and so you can put a sign up in your yard and you can sell the house, but are you squeezing every dollar that this market will give you? Negotiating is an art, and it takes a lot of experience. And when you're ingrained in the local market, you know how it works, and you know the agents, and you know how to feel your way through whether a buyer's highly motivated or not highly motivated. So anyway, that's a negotiating and trying to get as much as you can out of the market and handling bid wars. Definitely, if you have more questions about it, please give us a call here at 314-277-7713.
Perfect.
And call Glenn
at 314-249-6861.
Yeah, and he's going to tell you what you can do with all that equity that we're getting for you out of that house and how you can get your next one. Okay, till next week. We'll see you then. Have a good one.
All right, thanks.